Greetings and welcome to this week's episode of UC Weekly News. I'm your host, David Danto, and I find myself this week in San Jose, here at the Neat corporate headquarters, for the U.S. anyway, not the ones in Oslo that we were in last year. You can come on through, that's okay. You can even say hello, you were a guest last year. We've been attending for the last couple of days a Neat Analyst Summit, where they were talking about some new products that they're going to be coming out with in the near future. They're not going to announce them for a little while, but we can certainly say that there are some new things coming out soon. Dave Michels is here. He and I are going to chat for a little bit. We'll talk about what's going on in the industry. Stay with us. We'll be right back. I'm sitting here in one of Neat's private phone booths in their offices, and the device behind me is one that we're not allowed to show for a while, but it's really cool. So as I said, we're here at Neat's U.S. headquarters in San Jose, and I'm here with Dave Michels. Dave, good to see you actually in person. Look, we can actually touch. There's no artifact. There's nothing behind. Although we're behind us.
Don't touch. Don't touch.
Okay, fine. No. Here, we'll do it like a little box like that. Yeah, I see.
Are we in world headquarters or U.S. headquarters?
I don't know. The analyst meeting last year took place in Norway at Oslo.
Yeah.
And the one this year, they do it in different countries, different years. So this year we're in San Jose.
We've had more seafood than steak, and so maybe we are in Norway.
No, I don't think the portal stuff's not working yet. It's going to be a few more years. Well, they did show some cool stuff we can't talk about, but not portals yet.
All right. Well, clearly, it's September. What is it? September 2025. Mm-hmm. Video. It's a video month because we're here at Neat right now. We've got WebEx at the end of the month. We've got Cisco WebEx coming up.
It's a week and a half.
Yeah. And we've got and IDC just published their what do they call it? A video endpoint MarketScape.
Yeah, I saw that report. I had some issues with it too. I mean, one thing they showed in that report was that Cisco is clearly they did put it in the top right at the leaders quadrant, and I totally agree with that. What Cisco has done in terms of a 180 with all their interoperability and all their capabilities, I mean, I wouldn't argue with any of that. Everything else on the chart, I'd argue with.
Well, that's the fun thing about these reports is you've got, if you've got three analysts, you got four opinions on these things, and so. But I will say in IDC's defense that those are really hard to create. Those reports, there's just people don't think about this stuff, right? Because a video endpoint, it's so simple. You just turn it on, you talk in front of it, whatever, you move on. But just spending the whole day here with Neat and yesterday with Neat, there's a lot to these devices, and how you capture that in a grid is almost a ridiculous challenge. Now you talk about Cisco. Cisco is up at the top right, big circle, and deserved. They've come a long way with what they've done on that. Another surprise on there was really Huawei was another leader, and again, well-deserved. Huawei makes great products, but one report, two leaders, you might think that these guys are competing head-to-head with each other. I don't think they're competing head-to-head with...
Huawei doesn't sell products internationally and in the same markets. And that's what I think. The criteria that was stated for the report, which I'm not going to list now because I'll never remember all of it, under that criteria it was fair. But there were other pieces of criteria that I think were just as important that were let off the list.
Now, before we get into that, though, let's talk about who the leaders were in that report.
Okay, sure.
There were five. Cisco and Huawei we've mentioned. HP, Logi, and Yealink.
Right.
Now, I know there's a couple of question marks that are going through your head right now because they're going through mine as well. We talked about Huawei. I was surprised to see HP in the leaders quadrant.
Well, one of the things that I think is really important, and one criteria that I think they should have taken into consideration, was support. Yes, I buy a product. Yes, it's a great product. Maybe it's a great design product.
Great brand.
Maybe the design is 100 years old. Maybe it's 2 years old. But what happens after that? If I have a bug, if there's a patch, if there's some sort of issue that needs to be fixed, is there a team there backing me up? Do they support their products? Do they support their people? Do they have the same number of staff? And by not taking any of that into consideration, it moved HP up much higher than they should have been on that list.
I think HP deserves a lot of credit, or Poly deserves a lot of credit. They kind of invented the category, if you think about it, right? They were the first ones to really put Android on a video bar, and now we've got how many Android video bars
Oh,
are there? I think
my-
you're counting them all, aren't you?
Well, we have 12 manufacturers that are on Microsoft's MDEP, but the and that's a crazy situation
It's just
going
a small
on as well.
subset of what I'm
Yes,
talking about.
Exactly. But they're at least there are dozens, if not hundreds, of people that are making those products right now. And I've heard from end users that when they buy a certain product from a certain brand, they can't get anybody to fix it because the people that used to be on staff to fix it aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
So that's got to be
But
taken into consideration.
but they can't fix it because they're not there anymore. But they can fix it because the bar hasn't changed. Second,
old
I would
design,
say I would describe them as second generation bars, and that kind of surprised me to be in the leaders quadrant.
Yeah.
I mean, and so. I don't know if you can say quadrant. It's the wrong.
No, it's not a quadrant.
It's not
it's not a wave. You can't call it a wave.
I don't know.
Section. It's a section.
It's
It's an IDC section. It's a C. It's a C. No, and there were other issues there, not just with them, but you've got to give some credence to organizations that design products versus organizations that came out with Me Too products. The first board was great. The fourth board, the first bar, the second bar was great. The 10th bar that has the same typo in the manual. I don't agree with a lot of them. And then as we've been talking about, we're here at Neat. There's got to be some sort of sense of modularity, of engineering, of prowess, of smarts, which I don't think they took into consideration.
Well, that was my basic problem. And I don't want to beat up IDC because it was a good report and a lot of effort went into it. So I don't want to beat them up. But the challenge of a report like that is what I really want to emphasize because there's so much going on in this space, and so you've already brought up MDEP, for example. MDEP is going to be a huge thing. It's going to impact the entire, because Microsoft Teams has got such a big market share, and it's going to impact a lot of this Microsoft Teams rooms. And it's a huge environment, a huge change. And I actually did a search on MDEP. It only appears under one vendor in this report. It doesn't really talk about it just in a general section either. And it's under Aver. Aver, excuse me. That's not where I would have put it.
No, and it also wasn't apples to apples. They were very clear in the report where they said that some vendors participated and some vendors didn't. They just used public information, but then they put all the data as if it was parallel, as if it came from the. So I had a lot of questions with that. I think we would have reported some
Are
of
you
those.
sure it's
a
not
little
Aver?
differently.
That's got to be Aver. I've been calling it Aver for years.
No, I think it's Aver, but I could be wrong. It's possible.
It's
it hasn't happened yet this year, but could happen.
Okay, good. So, but you also just mentioned the magic word. You mentioned modularity, and that is something I didn't really fully appreciate until those last couple of days here with Neat. Neat's got a pretty strong story around modularity. They don't have a big portfolio, but they have a portfolio that.
You can add and subtract and change and customize. It was very interesting to see where they were going with that. We happen to be in a room. You can see behind us, the Neat Center is taking a picture of us. So that's what you're seeing on the screens behind us. And there are 2 Neat Centers in this room. We even saw...
At one point, we had like 3 or 4
Three.
Yeah.
And that's not anything on their release notes yet. It was just experimental here in their lab. But, and by the way, we have to go off to the side just before we finish because you got all those beautiful wrapped Neat Centers. I want Red Bull. You get Pepsi.
I think I can even show it.
Well, you got to step. You got to come in.
Okay, here we go.
I get Pepsi. Okay.
Okay. So these are the Neat Centers.
They go to a third-party company to do these custom wraps, so they can do branding in a conference room, and it's neat. It's cool. They kind of look like trophies. So. They're very nice. So we did see a lot of
3 on the table.
Now I have more than 3. Well, not all working. We did see a lot of modularity here and how they're taking what they described last year to us, which is expanding the high end and expanding the low end of what their systems can do. And we saw a lot of interesting things we can't talk about.
What I liked about the modular stuff that Neat's doing is that like one of them becomes the brains. One of them takes over, and
captain they called it. One was the captain.
One's the captain. Yeah. I thought that was really clever.
But the intelligence is distributed, so each one of these is a smart device. So it was actually a really good couple of days that we spent over here learning a lot of things.
Another thing they spent a lot of time on, which is important to every deployment, is the management software. And here at Neat, they call it Pulse.
Neat Pulse.
And again, going back to that IDC report, the management didn't get a lot of attention, in my opinion. I really should have got a little more emphasis because I didn't. There's a lot to it, right? Again, it's so easy especially as an end user, because these things have been designed so hard to be simple. Does that make sense? But going through what they said earlier today on Neat Pulse, they are building out personas, right? And I think it was 4 different personas. They had the IT AV admin team. That's the one you can guess pretty easily. The facilities team, they want information on what's going on with the video rooms. The one that surprised me was end user stats, but I'm not sure how much of that we could talk about just yet. But there was some end user stuff, and then of course partners want to know what's going on. So the management platforms alone, I mean, you think about how many video rooms there are, how many different video platforms there are. How many different video device makers there are. The management gets pretty complex pretty quickly if you have a mixed environment, and so it really becomes a very important consideration.
And Neat told us they're making some interesting changes to the way they're managing the Neat Pulse. One of the things that I think they have already announced is it's going to, their simple version of it, the unpaid version, is going to be free to all their endpoints, which is something that they've done. And there are obviously tiers where you can get other features, and they're still designing. It's only 2 years old. They've done a lot in 2 years.
Neat's not old. I mean, how old is Neat? Neat's a 10-year-old company?
2019, 2017, something. Yeah, so.
And this product's not very old either.
No, this was just recently introduced a couple of years ago.
Of course, you can't go to any kind of comms event without AI being a big part of the agenda. Again, it was in that IDC report, which is fair game. AI is your favorite topic. I know you love it when the vendors start talking about AI. Did you see that in the IDC report?
I'm sorry, as soon as you said AI, I kind of tuned out what you said. Can you say that again?
Did you see that in the IDC report? They actually were kind of harsh on Logi for not leveraging Gen AI enough. And I looked at that and I was like, I was like, yeah, go Logi.
I think that's unfortunately somebody who has been influenced by some of the AI spin, thinking that, oh, well, it's video conferencing and collaboration, it must have AI. Logitech, honestly, has, they've come up with the Meetup 2, and but they have one of the older generation products out there. The Neat Board is brand new, but some of the older products are just not going to leverage as much AI.
But bottom line is, AI is still so new. All the vendors are trying to figure this out. Companies like Logi, companies like Neat are doing a lot with AI, and I think it was kind of unfair to single Logi out.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's still, we don't know where this is. It's like we're throwing pasta at the wall, trying to figure out which ones are going to stick.
And who's going to make money at it, if anybody will?
Does the AI? What AI belongs in the platform? Zoom, Teams. What AI belongs in the device? What AI belongs to the enterprise, to the user, and is your transcript confidential? I mean, there's so many questions going on with AI that it's going to take a few years, I think, until this stuff kind of.
Well, what I use as a guiding principle when that particular part of the conversation comes up is I do say that I believe more AI is moving to the edge devices, and the reason I give for that is a very simple explanation. If you're in a self-driving car and it's about to hit a lady with a baby carriage, you don't want it to have to go to the cloud first and ask if that's the right thing to do. You'd kind of like it to know to stop. So we're going to start to see more and more smart edge devices that don't need to ask, is this the right thing to do?
Hit the baby.
Don't hit the baby. Don't hit the baby, don't hit the carriage.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
But we covered a lot here at this event. We can't possibly recapture it in this little video. I think we're already pretty much at the end of the video.
We are. We're at the end of this portion.
Overall take on the event here at Neat?
I think Neat is a company that you need to keep an eye on. I think what they're doing with what they used to call beautiful intelligent devices, and it's still beautiful, but now they want to lean more into the intelligence. I think it's something to really keep an eye on. We were both told about some announcements that are coming out within the next 30 days, so keep an eye on that. I'll give you a couple of sneak previews that are blocked out so we don't break any NDAs, but there are going to be some new product announcements coming out here.
I was looking for my purple pin because I love the purple stuff that Neat does here. But no, I think you're absolutely right. I think Neat has got a lot going on. More than I had appreciated walking in here a couple days ago, and definitely a company that deserves some attention.
Let's go take a look at what's under the cloth.
Under the cloth. They have stuff
Hidden under a cloth
yeah.
with liquor in front of it, but that's another story.
I think it's the same story, but more to come.
I'll see you in a week and a half
At WebEx.
at WebEx1. Be right back.
Last night where we tried this out. This is a really nice pastry. I recommend it. It's under here. Just put this away.
We could have given you the belt out of the picture when you're like 18.
So that's it for this week's UC Weekly News here from Neat Corporate Headquarters. Thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Take care.